Bill.
Like mother of pearl and create the beautiful pearl. So it's the perfect analogy for something that's you suffer. You take suffering and you work with it. And if you work with it enough, eventually your suffering turns into something beautiful, right? Like that's in the New Testament when Jesus was, there was a man who was, they called handicapped at the time. And Jesus helped him, Jesus healed him, he got up and walked away. And the teacher said, why was he handicapped? Was he born that way because of something he did? Or was it something his parents did that he was born that way? And Jesus said he was born that way to glorify God. So I remember reading that thinking, that's stupid that people have to be born to suffer so that it makes God a better thing or something.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
No, but then it dawned on, then eventually dawned on you, oh, when someone's born with something like that, and they work through it, they actually wake up and become an amazing person as they work through something, right? And they glorify divinity by working through a great suffering. So anyway, so I started reading about pearls, and it turns out that about 1900, a Japanese man decided he was going to create pearls in captivity. Okay, because no one had done this, and pearls were really expensive and rare. So he decided he was going to do it. So he would collect oysters, he would stick something in them and put them in the ocean for a year and pull them out, and they wouldn't create any pearls, they'd be dead or something. So he did this for years, and he ended up becoming impoverished, and people would come to his house to get him to pay bills, and his wife would tell him to run away and hide, and they would call him crazy for trying to do this. So he kept doing it. He tried everything. He tried gold, steel, silver, wood, glass, sand. He tried anything you think of putting in an oyster. You have to wait a year and pull them up, and nothing would be there. They'd be dead. So his wife eventually died, and then one day he pulled up all the oysters, and they all had pearls in them, and he found the secret. He was the only person in the world that knew how to create pearls in captivity. And what he discovered was, if you use a piece of another oyster, a particular part, call it part of the mantle. So actually a pearl is created through the suffering of two things. An oyster that lost a part of itself, and an oyster that has the irritation of having the other part. So he became the pearl king of the world. What was his name again? But anyway, so then I started reading about pearls, and an oyster makes its most expensive pearl at the end of its life, because it keeps growing its whole life, so it makes its biggest, most priceless pearl at the end. They tried raising oysters in captivity in still water, and they made really crappy pearls. He found out that they had to be out in the ocean where they would get hit by the surf. They had harder shells, and they would make better pearls. And so then I started coming up, so the analogies for people, that pearls take on the shape of the original irritant. So if the original irritant is shaped like a heart, that it's a heart pearl. That's shaped like, if it's round, it's a round pearl. People are the same way. Whatever their original trauma was, if they work through it, that's the shape that the gift they have to give to the world is in the shape of their, right? The thing they had to work through. So, and then...
all the impressions that they've taken on.
Yeah.
Profound.
And they're only made by a living thing. That's it. So I came up with all these things I wanted to...
You're going to get it in the book.
And I was writing about it anyway.
Do you know anything about different kinds of pearls?
You've got the
Like
black
this
and the gray and
Is
the
this
white.
one Tahitian black pearl?
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know much about them other than just hearing about them and things. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I had a black and a gray and a white that my mom gave me, but I got taken when I moved.
Oh. This is one of my
beautiful.
mom's.
Oh, for the jewelry that we
Yeah.
She had a jewelry
and
store?
No, she just collected jewelry, but she had a lot of pearls.
Sorry.
And so my last time I went to meditate, the jewelry was my big obsession. It just kept coming into my head. And anyway, my mom wore this one at the end of her life a lot. And it's too complicated for me to articulate, but this particular piece kept coming into my head because it has the black pearl and the white pearl.
Yeah.
And the black pearl is the, all of for me, the parts of myself that I have a lot of self-loathing and, you know, stuff like that. And I think, oh wow, I bet my mom went through that same thing where she had to learn to accept that part.
Exactly.
And that's probably why she was wearing this.
Definitely, yes.
And so I thought, well, okay, I get it. So I started wearing it because she wore this one every day for a while, for a long time.
But you never had that conversation.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have to anymore, you know?
It's really pretty.
So,
So Janie stored her mom's jewelry in my basement for
Yeah.
a lot of years.
Yeah.
And then right before she took it to take it up to her place in Washington, we went through it all, and it was fun.
yeah. Yeah, and Betsy organized it all and put labels on stuff.
Put labels.
Oh, what a
Because
sweetie.
it was so much jewelry.
Yeah, so,
It was a lot of jewelry.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
I was going to say, our grandmother, Bonnie and my grandmother's name was Pearl.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
pearls are, I mean, you know, loving kindness meditation, you know, you take the suffering and you're loving towards it. And eventually, before you know it, one day you become a loving person.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mother Teresa, you met a lot of people. What they do is, when they leave kind of like pearls behind that are just like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are just kind of there. And what's cool about an oyster too is you can't tell by looking at what's kind of, if there's anything in it, or if it, you know, it's just like people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, so I was working on the whole thing about, you know, we all collect pearls of wisdom along our life, right? And so anyway, so I thought that was, you know, about pearls. And
I love how you tell the story, Bill. Always new parts.
That's fun.
Yeah. I hope you get this book out.
yeah, you should.
And that's what you know, on the psychic, I always tell this story to the patients. You know, we do loving kindness every night, and then I hand them out. I hand them that saying. One of our patients made that for me. The pearl goes up for auction. No one has enough, so the pearl buys itself. So then we talk about what does that mean, and then we talk about basically loving kindness or being kind. You know, being kind to yourself. That so many people on a unit. On the psychic, you see so many patients get visitors and they're loving to their visitors, or a dog visits and they're loving. But this thing that's loving, it's very hard for them to go, whoop, and do it on themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so,
think that's true for, I mean, not just people on the psych
totally.
ward.
Yeah.
For like,
I think
yeah.
you're totally
Yeah.
right. You're totally
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so, you know, so on the, oh yes, do I have anything?
Bill
With one
takes
patient-
Annie.
with
Bill
one patient-
brings Annie up there, and they just love her so much.